Um, the logic assignment, the one where you had to watch the three videos and read the three short videos, the ones by Penn, and read the chapter, part of the chapter by Sober. It had 18 questions on it. Do you remember that? I said make a video for it. The video's made, it's uploading very slowly, but it should. Now it stopped. All right. So anyhow, it's uploading. It'll get uploaded. As soon as it's fully uploaded, I'll send you the link, and then you could use that to review, revise, resubmit that assignment for a higher grade. I'll give you a bit of time to do it. It should help. And actually, the video goes through a lot of it really explains a lot of stuff that Pin was talking about. I think it should be helpful to you for the material. So that's number one. Number two, I want to tell you about an opportunity to go to Italy with COD. Has anybody here done a study abroad trip with COD? No? Okay. So we do a bunch of them and we go all over. We have ones to Ireland, Iceland, Costa Rica. We've gone to Russia, India. We have a history professor here who is in the process of developing a class to go to Sri Lanka. I'm really excited about that. I've actually always wanted to go to Sri Lanka. But we're going to go to Italy this summer. It's going to be, I think, like June 5th to July 3rd, something like that. It's about a month, right? And I went with COD the last time we did this 2 summers ago. I'm going to go again this summer. I'm going to be one of the faculty on it, but it's a really great trip. We spend a bit of time in Rome. We spend most of the time in Siena, which I haven't been to every single town in Italy, but I've been to a lot of them, and I think Siena is like by far my favorite city in Italy. I just think it's incredible. You're there for pretty much a whole month. It's like medieval architecture everywhere. The food's amazing. It's really great. You do have to take a class while you're there, an Italian class, Monday through Friday. You're in class from 9 a.m. to noon, taking Italian classes, all levels. We have people who've never studied one word of Italian before they go. They get pretty good by the end. I will say the school is really great. I take classes there when I go, and the school is just gorgeous. And like the views out the window are just ridiculous. It's like you can't even like believe you're in school. It's very chill. There's not a lot of homework, right? But yeah, you are in classes. You stay with a family. You get like home cooked, Italian food every day. The food there is actually really, really amazing, especially I actually will not eat pasta in the United States. I just can't because it's so bad here compared to what you get over there. But I would really, think about going. And if you don't want to go to Italy, we do Costa Rica for Spanish all the time. We go to France to do French. They go to Vienna for German. I mean, we offer classes here in Korean. I don't think we have we might have a Korea trip actually. I don't think we have it specifically for language. We teach Mandarin here. You could go to China to study Mandarin. We teach Japanese here. You could go to Japan to study Japanese, also stay with the family, all of that stuff. So I would consider it. I mean, these programs are really great. And a lot of students that go on them, they really say they like transform their lives. It's amazing to spend a month like in a foreign country, right? So, okay. Anybody here? Kaylee, you gonna go to Italy, maybe? Surely think about it seriously. The main professor will be Professor Anna Serrano. I don't know if any of you know her, but she's our main Italian faculty member here. So she's really cool. Actually, I'm taking an Italian class with her right now. Tuesday, Thursdays at 8 a.m. I go up there. I got homework to do this weekend too. So anyhow, it's kind of embarrassing when you're a professor and like you forget to do the homework. All right, it happens. We're all human. Could sympathize with you all day. So happiness. Where did we finish on Tuesday? What we talked about? Don't just say happiness. Yeah, I know. Well, what specifically? Kaylee, do you remember? Awesome. We were defining it. Let's do a quick review, right? Question number one. How did we do this? Let's have this on the video. You all have this down, yes? Claudia, do you have it down? Excellent. What did you have for one?
And then psychological ones joy and contentment, but we're looking for long-term happiness and happiness.
Right, yeah. There's really two ways of looking at this historically, in philosophy, in religion, you name it. We often use happiness in a psychological sense that kind of makes sense. So and so's depressed, so and so's happy. We're talking about like psychological states of some kind, right? So, how are you feeling today? Happy. Okay. So, we can use happiness in a psychological sense. Now, even when we do that, there's still a lot of ambiguity because some people will say, I think of that as satisfaction. Some people say, I think of it as pleasure. Some will say, I think of it as contentment. I think of it as joy. I think of it as ecstasy. Those aren't all the same things. Maybe happiness isn't just one thing. Maybe it's a lot of different things. Even when we look at psychology, you can look at it short term, you can look at it long term. So to say we're talking about it in a psychological sense, it doesn't really tell us very much because that could still mean a zillion different things. So what we want to do is focus on one, which is going to be long-term satisfaction. And you might say, well, okay, but what about all those other things? So we'll call this life satisfaction, like being satisfied with your whole life, the whole course of your life. And you might say, well, if by psychological happiness I could have meant short-term pleasure, then why focus on this? We're going to see why. But I think it's because a lot of us really, really want this. And it's for us, it's a lot harder to get this than it is to get short-term pleasure. Short-term pleasure is pretty easy. You got a couple bucks in your pocket, Dairy Queen will take care of you. That's not too hard. This one turns out to be a bit more difficult. And there's other reasons, but we're going to focus on this. Just really quickly with the axiological, which means value, which means here means well-being. There's a lot of different types of value. We're talking about your life going well for you. And then again, you could raise these questions. Well, what does that mean? Well, what are some things that we typically think are good for us? Physical health, psychological health, relationships, right? So a lot of philosophers that focus on this, what do they start talking about? Physical health, psychological health, relationships. This is question number one. We're going to focus on this. Actually, this is one. Three is this. Three, was it three? Which one we're going to focus on? Yeah, this is one we're going to focus on. But not only, we'll look at the other stuff too. But this is question number one. This number three is focused on this. Two was, we'll get to it in a second. You had a question?
I was just gonna, I was actually gonna make. Because I realized that what I'm thinking is that happiness is kind of fleeting. You know, I can be happy. I can be happy because my football team won, or I can be happy because I'm going to have Chinese. But then there's this, it's contentment or peace or, you know, even if you know, stuff wise, I'm still okay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be like, you know, even if, you know, this happens and that happens, I've still got a steady line for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another reason why I think life satisfaction is a really good thing to focus on, right? And so I think we all kind of get this, that there might not be many people that have this in life, but there's some. And would those people say that they feel over the moon with joy every single day of their lives? No. It's more of a long-term thing. It's more of a long-term thing. And it's not just like having a blizzard. Right? Right?
It's
Yeah.
like doing something, like having a goal that you wanted to, having a type of relationship, those kind of things that take long term.
Yeah.
Thinking and planning and
right. We're gonna start looking at, is this real? Where do we get it? Yeah, right. So far we're just clarifying our terms. This is just what we're going to focus on. We're going to see why we focus on it. And then is it really attainable? If so, how? Do we create that, discover it, objective, subjective? Yep, all of that. We're going to get to that in a minute. Just one thing before we do. How might these be related? Again, we're mostly going to focus on this. But it doesn't mean we're not going to talk about this at all. And it might be these are connected in various ways. Can anybody see how having positive psychology, especially life satisfaction, might be connected with physical health, psychological health, and healthy relationships? Can we see how that might work out? Shana, you've been quiet today. All right. How do you think having life satisfaction might connect with physical health, psychological health, healthy relationships? Do you think there might be any connection between those? So what, say a little more. How could they connect?
Through mind, being in a good state and releases like endorphins from that.
Okay, yeah.
So your body is more likely to recover from stressful situations and all this other stuff because
Right, yeah. You might think that in a way these are kind of a package deal, at least to some degree. Like the more positive our psychology, now maybe this gets a little bit tricky. Are you saying you're that you're so content because you're torturing people and you're dungeon on the week? Okay. But if we assume at least some kind of reasonable basis for the satisfaction, that can maybe help with mental health, which can help with physical health, which can help with healthy relationships, and vice versa. If we've got good physical health and mental health, that can help us with satisfaction. We got rich relationships that can help with satisfaction. You might see these things can kind of like help generate one another, sustain one another. I'm not saying it's perfect, right? We're not saying there's like a perfect correlation here or that they're the exact same thing, but it seems like these can each help produce one another. Are we good with that? We good with that? Okay. So that was 1, 2, and 3. Now let's do 4, which is where I think things really kind of get interesting, which is yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
I was doing some human services classes and I ended up doing I did an observation with a hospice.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that, so I went and spoke to people that were on hospice. So they were at different forms of through the process of dying. And the interesting thing with the research that I also did while I was doing that, because I had to write a paper and stuff, was that like some people were given a date, said we're gonna make it a year and a half or 2 years or whatever. And some people, depending on their psychological, how they took that.
Mm-hmm.
There was one person that made it 7 years past that,
Mm-hmm.
because of where they were psychologically and in their life and how much support they had. And then there were other people that were given the date, you got a year or 6 months or whatever, and they just died right then. I mean, within about a week or two of that time, because they literally kind of kind of just, okay, that was my expiration date. So what I'm saying is that this has a lot to do with
Oh yeah.
how you evaluate life.
Everything in your expectations will drive so much of your life. Unfortunately, it's really hard for a lot of us to shift our expectations. That's why I think really getting a good therapist is a really big help. But yeah, no, I mean it's absolutely true, and it's really kind of amazing. But yeah,
The research,
it's true. Yeah.
Some of them there were 6 people that were told that they were going to die this day. This,
Mm-hmm.
4 of them did.
Mm-hmm.
4 of them literally just died back within 48 hours of that date.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yep.
Your mind really is a lot stronger than your body too.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it absolutely is. Yep. So here's the thing. Aristotle makes this argument, and this is one thing I want us to talk about for a bit. Because now we've talked a little bit about the terms, okay? And what we mean by them, what we might mean by them. And then a really big question is, does any of this really matter? Does it really matter? Does anybody care? And Aristotle actually argues it's the most important thing in life. And he says we all believe that. He says Aristotle's going to argue that every single thing you're doing in life, you are doing for the sake of happiness. Every single thing. And now, is he right or wrong? Well, first we got to know, what does he mean by happiness? People can mean a zillion things by happiness. So what does he mean? And what he's talking about is this. Now that's still kind of fuzzy for us, like the well-being, right? I don't want to focus on that the way he does it. I want to focus on satisfaction, which I think he thinks like this would bring with it. But he's more focused on this. I want to focus on this, right? So the way the question I want us to focus on, I'm gonna break you into groups to do this, is do you think that every single thing we're doing in life, and you might say, well, how do I know? I can't speak for all people. So speak for yourself and the people around you. And maybe speak mostly for yourself. What do you think about you? Do you think you are doing everything you're doing in life for the sake of life satisfaction? So that you can be pleased with your life, that you can think your life goes well, that it's a life you are happy that you are leading, that you have led. You're happy with your life. Like, do you think you're doing everything you're doing for that sake? Now, this doesn't necessarily, if you agree, you're not necessarily saying it's the only reason you do what you do, but it would be one of the reasons. We could even go further and ask whether it would be ultimately the only reason. But I just want us to start thinking, and you start thinking about major choices you make. Like, number one, why are you at COD? What are you doing here? Right? Why'd you get up this morning? Why do you come to class? Right? Carter, you're in the music, right? Yeah. Why do you listen to that stuff? Some of you actually do watch football. Why do you do that? Right? What else do you do with your spare time? I don't know. You play Luigi's Mansion 2, the best of the series. Donovan Nelson, I'm talking about God, Luigi's Mansion 2. Okay, why do you play Luigi's Mansion 2 over and over and over and over? Why do you do this stuff? If you got a significant other, why? If you just broke up with them, why? Like, why are we doing what you might go to Italy, this, why? Does it have anything to do with this? If it's not because of this, what would the other reason possibly be? So I want to start thinking about this. Should we agree with Aristotle? Should we say he's all right, all wrong, mostly right, mostly wrong, halvesies? Like, what do we think about that?
But some of that's also got to do with age, because the reason some of the are here in COD is because mom and dad told them to.
That doesn't mean Aristotle's wrong, right? That might mean he's exactly right, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5, another 6 groups. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Christopher. 5. Manella. 6. Gabriella. 1. Anton. 2, 3. Matt. Claudia. 4. Nicole. 5. Gina. 6. Chris. 1. Donovan. 2. Sarah. 3. Carter. 4. Bella. 5. Eric. 6. You are 1. 1 will come over and hang with Marco. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 up front and 6 in the back. And these 6 rows here of my groups. Who's gonna be up here? What's that? Yeah, or 6 if you wanna. No, 6 will be back by here. Eric, are you 6? I don't want Eric to have to move. Eric, do you like monkeys? Yeah, I was the first time this summer. Really? Yeah. You tried their taco reaper sauce? I tried their beef jerky. Oh man, the taco reaper sauce is next level. All right. Eric, how was the jerky? We got to go back to your who is well, we sit the same place. You see the new so say hello to one another and then start chatting about the stuff. What are you doing?
No worries.
Martha, do you mind? You're not in trouble. Oh, yeah. You're not in trouble.
You wanna grab a chair?
Are you sure? You can use this one. You can lower it. Or you can hang that thing. Oh, sorry. You can hang up here. Yeah. Oh. All right. Is it more satisfying than the wishes?
My case of like nagging about it, yeah, you. But also like getting them off your back.
It doesn't necessarily mean we think we're going to do awesome at it, but are we trying to do our best at it? Maybe you might want to look at, are we trying to minimize dissatisfaction? What should be the flip of maximizing satisfaction?
Maybe that would be the thing.
Yeah.
And maybe like discussing the favorite. What do you So it might be we're not always finding satisfaction to see, but are we trying to? So then you think about once you have that basic stuff sorted out. You know.
Thanks, man. I mean.
You're cool, right? When you finish your homework, you feel a different satisfaction. You use that feeling so yummy delicious, right? With the afterwards.
Those parties.
You know your head.
Like right now,
Let's say, like, more
Being fine. Too much calories.
But you can always get more burgers.
So then you got bread.
Your homework you can do for free at the library.
What is like that?
It's perfect.
All right, I'll give you all another minute.
So, at least at that point, okay. I don't even hear this plan.
We really don't make you do
I don't think that like you like badass kind of.
Hey, would you can get it? What's that? Would you want to vote? Most cheeseburger stuff, but some are really good. Some black bean burgers are and you can make really good. I don't like stuff that tries to taste like, but there's a company out there. It's like a local. They can't figure it out. But if you said you could also the whole. Black bean burger. I'm fascinated by that. I watch our review product. I watch a lot of reviews online, like different burgers. I might bring this up actually.
All right, y'all. All right. Before we get into things, I just want to say something about the other day. I was commenting on the rapture thing and this is what happened. And I realized like after I felt that I didn't want to sound like jerky or aggressive or anything like that. And so for some reason this semester, maybe this is going to be too conscientious. Sometimes I'm in class, and it's really enjoy class. I really love it. But sometimes I feel like, I don't know, am I coming off like kind of aggressive about this? I do not think philosophy at all should be used as some way to try to like embarrass people, cause trouble for people. The only thing with the rapture thing that just concerns me so much is, I mean, people actually really get themselves in a serious jams over that. You know, like, that makes me sad. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to ever feel like, you know, given with the ego. Like, definitely not trying to get people going. All right, so here's what I heard a lot of as I was going on. I heard that Aristotle was right. I heard some people did say, okay, once I got this. I just heard some people say that. What do you think? Like, does this seem like he's right? Oh.
Like, everything that I personally go towards is happiness, like when I listen to certain music, it's music that I like to make me happy, or I go to school to do a certain major because I want to be happy at the end of it. So like, you need to be satisfied at the end of it.
Yeah, and as much as possible in this class, I want us to think about how to think through things. And again, I'm gonna fail at that sometimes, but I think the big problem we have with philosophy is one, we fail to show our students how much we're doing it all the time anyhow. Three, we're failing to show how much it connects with stuff we already care about. Three, we're often just kind of doing it as magic and not helping people like kind of learn how to do it and then seeing that those strategies apply elsewhere. Someone asks, someone who's trained in philosophy, who's never thought about this before, because some people in philosophy are just thinking about math or free will. But you ask them, do you agree with Aristotle? And the first thing they ask is, well, what do you mean by happiness? And fill it out. And I think what they would start doing is they would say, okay, does it seem like Aristotle is everywhere? Can we come up with any instance in life where it seems like someone's doing something for the sake of that? Can we come up with two? Can we come up with three? Then on the other side, can we come up with any cases where he's wrong? So we're trying to see, is he ever right? And then is he always right? And maybe he's just mostly right. And then we could ask a further question, how can we speak for other people? Well, maybe all we can do is ask other people. But if it turned out we interviewed like 10,000 people and they were all like, yeah, totally. I mean, I think that would count for something, right? So can we come up with cases where it seems like he's right? By the way, did I have a whole procedure I just laid out? Does that sound kind of logical, reasonable? A lot of philosophy is actually, it's really kind of simple in a way if we break it down properly. A lot of times when it's hard, it's because the professor just has it done. Don't do it. Sometimes it's also disheartening, but that's also not right, you know? So, yeah, okay, so why are we in school? Why is everybody here in school? Kaylee, why are you at CUNY? That's great. No, all right, so why? Why do you care about your education? Great. Why do you care about a job and money? To do stuff you want to do, like buy Luigi's Mansion 16? And is that what we're talking about? I want to do a job that isn't totally boring. I want a job that doesn't totally suck. I want a job that really interests me. I want a job that engages me. Sounds like we're talking about life satisfaction. I want money to be able to do stuff with my life. You want to live a life, like that's the kind of life you want to lead, a life you want to lead, a life that's enjoyable to lead, that's satisfying to lead, that's pleasing to lead. Are we, I mean, right? I mean, I don't care. Are we good? And then someone might say, no, I don't even care about that at all. So can we find a counterexample? Someone might say, the only reason I'm here is because my parents said, if I don't go here, they'll kick me out of the house. And I don't care about my future and I don't care about any of that other stuff. Do you agree not being kicked out of the house is more satisfying than being kicked out of the house? There we are. Did anyone come up with a case where it seems like Aristotle might be wrong? Is there anything that it seems like anybody does that they're not doing it for their own life satisfaction? Yeah, Eric. I could think of something in that, so like I might have to start working with stuff, but okay, that's not as much free will, you know. So
okay, so your free will can get compromised. We'll talk about that in free will. But maybe you're just trying to survive so you can have any kind of life that's satisfying to some degree, right? Altruism, but right? I agree. And we might have cases too get kind of funny, right? Someone said basic needs. If your basic needs aren't being met, maybe. But even then, maybe you're just trying to get your needs met so you can make something out of your life. Claudia mentioned altruism. Does this mean we're always selfish? I think we got to be careful with that. I think people get really hung up on some of this stuff. People sometimes seem to have this attitude. Sometimes people say Kant had this attitude. It's a bit complicated, right? But sometimes people will say that if you do anything for somebody else with any self-concern at all, it's completely selfish and you're terrible. And I'm like, what are we basically presupposing? The only way I can be a good person is if I hate it in every conceivable way and it causes me nothing but suffering and dissatisfaction, but I do that anyhow? Like, really? Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe that's like a little over the top, you know? Claudia, you said sometimes you do nice stuff, you said, for people in your life, family, but you say you also do it for you? Yeah. What is it satisfying to like be kind, to be connected? That's good. I'm glad you feel that way. I think that's actually how a lot of us are built. I mean, I love my kid more than anything in the world. I probably love my kid as selflessly as anything. Also, it just gives me a lot of joy to spend time with her and to see her do well. You know, a student once said that there was this case a couple of years ago. Our government ordered or awarded, not ordered, awarded this posthumous, this like after death Medal of Valor or something to a soldier who jumped on a grenade that had been thrown into barracks or something and blew himself to pieces to save his other soldiers. That kind of action, someone could say, I don't know if they're doing it for life satisfaction. I think they might also be doing it for life satisfaction. Can anybody see how that might be? And even if it's wrong, Aristotle could still be mostly right. And again, this isn't about defending Aristotle. It's trying to figure out what really matters. How do you think it could make sense for someone to jump on a grenade like that, at least partly for life satisfaction? You don't have to say it's only for that, but partly for that. Jenna, hey, Jenna?
Because my thinking is they went into the military to serve their country.
Yeah.
So that to them is satisfying that need of I am protecting my troops. That's what I must do.
Yeah. I mean, realizing your own values is a pretty high form of satisfaction. It might be about the highest. And sometimes it is. You know, you do choose to bring your your life to an end for somebody else because you want your life to be meaningful, to count. You might think, how would you live with yourself the next day without it? I had a student in class the other day ask about suicide. I think suicide might still work on this. I want to be careful. Please don't do it. How could suicide be done for satisfaction? Cole? There might be a way just to minimize the dissatisfaction, which is also on the flip of maximizing the satisfaction. You might just be overwhelmed by the stuff you want that to come to an end. Again, a lot of times we don't think that our best is going to be great, but we're often just trying to do our best. You know, and again, I mean, I don't want to sound too weird, but I use this example class every day. Like, I'm a pretty religious dude. I pray every day, I read my Bible, go to church every week. I'd like to be able to say I'm doing that like just for God, but I don't think I am. I think I'm also doing that for moi. It gives me all kinds of joy. It gives me it gives me a lot of satisfaction. Joy, pleasure and joy are more complicated in that realm, but it gives me a lot of satisfaction, you know? It is what it is. I'm here at CMD just because I want to learn. I'm not worried about the job. Well, you find learning pretty satisfying. I think we should agree by now that this is question number 4. We do think life satisfaction is supremely important to us because it's why we're making like all of our life decisions. I mean, what's on top of that in a way? Well, I would say, I think God matters way more my own life satisfaction, but also my motivation for engaging in that at all. It includes my life satisfaction. I'm not going to say my own life satisfaction is like absolutely the most important thing in life. I think that's absurd. But as far as my own motivational structure goes, I mean, yeah, it plays an enormous role. So if someone basically convinced us that we're spending our whole life chasing something, I think what should we ask next? Martha, if someone gives us an argument that we're spending our whole life chasing something, what question should we ask next?
Spend your life chasing something.
Yeah.
Are you really going anywhere?
Do you ever catch it?
Yeah.
Do you ever catch it? How are you trying to find it, and do you ever catch it? And so then we're going to move on to question number 5. And here's where I'm going to have you guys go in groups again and talk for a minute. I want you to work out with your group mates. How do you think people are actually trying to find this in life? What are they using to try to get this life satisfaction? I kind of want only wrong answers, but if you generate some like decent ones on the side, we'll take those too. So maybe actually try to come up with everything, but try to identify what you think the wrong answers would be. How are people actually trying to do this? And here's something you could think about. When I was a kid, we had something called TV. There were commercials on this thing. You still have those, right? You know what commercials are. Do they have those on TikTok? That's their, okay, so it's like the, right. You make money off of like Facebook, right? By the way, I love those senators who are talking to Zuckerberg and they're like, what do you mean there's no fee for Facebook? How do you generate revenue? It's like, we have ads. Okay. So think about ads. Think about ads on TV. Think about ads on social media. Think about ads in magazines, if any of you've seen a magazine. Think of entertainment. You can think about movies and TV shows, right? What are the type of values that we're often being given in this country? Like you think of rock videos, right? You can think of hip hop videos, right? Like we see all these images where people are trying to like reveal to us how we can achieve this, how we should achieve it. Well, how are they recommending we do this? How do you think people are actually doing it? Uniforms. Like instead of saying like chihuahua, maybe say dog or even pets, right? Like choose pets. You see what I mean? Try to go for that level of generality. All right. So I'll give you guys like another 5 minutes or so to chew in. I try to list them out, see what you come up with. How are people finding this? Like, are they like saying, you know what? The pencil, I'll do some magazine with a few more of these. I'll be good. You know, like what are they using to try to find?
The thing is, you base your satisfaction have enough of. Then maybe never be satisfied, right? Like you base
You guys can be in this group too. You got two.
I'm thinking like, I don't know. Peace of mind, full of your own heart. Really, I think the greatest satisfaction
that you know on one. It's really
We'll have a lot of fun. About the goal.
It's not legal. Cool. I really wish I got my kid to do it with the family. What did you all come up with? Oh, the greatest. That's what a philosopher would say. I think it's right, but. Well, the control part's a little tricky. Yeah. Yeah. I like the virtue.
Yeah. That was the good example.
No, we'll have a good discussion. No, I mean, I believe in freedom, but we can't always completely control things outside us, but can't we control everything inside us? I have a middle view. Yeah, I kind of have a middle view too. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're almost done, or we're not. Okay, what do you guys have? What do you got? What do you guys have? I don't know. Actually, I might put this up where. All right, what do you all? Someone give me something. What are things we're using to try to find the satisfaction? Eric. Okay. All right, let's stop with that. Stop. Class, do we agree? Money. How do we know this? We see it all over our society. You know, I mean, it's everywhere, right? One way people are seeking the satisfaction is from money. Now, does this necessarily mean that they just think having like a pool filled with gold coins, it just gives them bliss? Like maybe for Scrooge McDuck, but I think for the most part, it's the purchasing power. It's like what money can do. We don't want it like for itself intrinsically, but instrumentally for what it can do. Want to be right? You want to have the money so you could do the things. The stuff you could do. Yeah, yeah. Like good. I mean, a lot of people want to be Bezos or, you know, whatever, because all this dough. Eric, what else did y'all have? Okay, health is. I'm gonna say it's a good answer. All right, what else we got? But health for sure. A lot of people they want to have physical health. They want to have mental health. Yeah, I mean, of course, it makes a lot of sense. What else, Gina? Okay, good. I'm gonna put this one under status. And beauty, status is gonna include beauty and maybe some other stuff. I'm gonna put status slash honor. By the way, the Greeks were really, really into honor. I think we're very much like them. And you even see that in Plato and Aristotle. It's kind of like they want to say honor shouldn't really matter. And Aristotle kind of wants to say that because honor is dependent on other people and it might be the right, that might not be the right kind of people, da 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 da. But I think that pull in ancient Greece to, you know what I mean, to be like a really honorable man, it was kind of, it's hard for them to escape honor, right? Yeah. What else we got? Yeah, I'll put that under good stuff. Yeah, what else we got? Eric? Learning? I almost never get that, but yeah. I mean, I like that. That's high on my list, right? Yeah. Learning, developing yourself. Yeah. Yeah, good. Achievement. I think this is a really, really good one. I mean, these are all great so far. I think achievement's really great. I'm going to put this under status. I don't think it has to be. I think it's ambiguous. Because you could take achievement more in a sense of like developing yourself, applying yourself, da 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 da. We can also take it in a sense of you want bragging rights. I'm going to focus on that one. We can get to the other side of that later. I think it's huge, huge. And again, for the Greeks, honor often went with achievement. Those were like this for a lot of the Greeks. Huge, right? Status. What else? Vices. Okay, what? So Eric had mentioned too when I was back by him. What did you mention too? Okay. Yeah, drugs. I'm gonna put pleasure and entertainment. Pleasure and entertainment.
No, wait.
At least according to the Stoics, some other people. Virtue. Yeah. Yep. Which we can get in debates then too. Like, what are the different types of virtue? You know, what is virtue? Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. What about this? What's one a lot of Americans seem to really be interested in that we haven't mentioned? What's one a lot of Americans, and maybe you connect it with status, maybe. I'm gonna put it separately. Fame and power. Okay, I want to focus on for question number 5. Let's focus on 1 through 5. Let's focus on 1 through 5. We'll focus on other ones later. Well, I want to focus on these. Do we see a lot of people in our society are chasing these for life satisfaction? Right. So 1 is money, 2 is status slash honor, which we got our examples of beauty or achievement, at least taking achievement in the sense of like bragging rights. 3 is pleasure and entertainment. 4 is power. 4 is fame. 5 is power. Do we see a lot of Americans are chasing this stuff in order to try to find life satisfaction? Do you think we should have the same view on all of this? Put it this way. Even Plato's going to have Socrates argue a life 100% devoid of pleasure is not worth choosing, not worth living. And probably most of us would agree with that. A life with zero pleasure, we wouldn't want to do it. I think Curto was on that last time. Yeah. Zero pleasure, not worth doing. At least a lot of us would say that. Does anybody here want to say you can't have satisfaction in life without fame? Anybody want to raise their hand and say, excuse my, well, I'll keep it clean. If you want life satisfaction, unless you can get famous, you're out of luck, I'll say. Anyone here want to say that? No. I don't know how often chasing fame is really all that constructive. It's certainly destructive. I don't think any of us want to say it's necessary. Pleasure, we might say it's necessary. Does this mean all pleasure should go cocaine, whatever, indiscriminately? Carter, how do you feel? How many people do you think are going to achieve deep life satisfaction if they just go bananas with the cocaine? Nobody. I'm going to actually do a quick detour. We have our friend Epicurus. I'm going to tell you what. I actually really like Epicurus. I have a soft spot for him. Um, he thought your soul was just atoms. He said the gods don't matter and maybe don't exist. He might have been, I mean, he does talk about the gods. Some scholars think he was really an atheist. I think he was an irrelevantist slash atheist slash agnostic, maybe. Who knows? Gods don't matter. Don't fool with them. Your soul's made out of atoms. I quite like Epicurus, actually. And Epicurus, he's often said to have been a hedonist. The thing we most need in life is pleasure, which we often think of in terms of Dairy Queen, but a lot of scholars say no, it was more at tranquility and absence of disturbance. But the way that Epicureans argued, in a way, was if you go and do mountains of cocaine, God's not going to cry. You're not going to make God cry. But you shouldn't do mountains of cocaine. Why? Again, it wasn't because he thought God's going to cry. Then why? Why? Epicurus would say, don't do it. He was said to be a hedonist. Like the measure of life was pleasure. He was also said to be a monk. He didn't drink very much alcohol. He didn't eat a whole lot of food. I don't know if he had a whole lot of sex. Maybe he went to bed early, woke up early. He's the hedonist. He did hedonism properly. Why? Does that make sense to anybody here?
Wait, he didn't do any of those things?
No. Yeah,
Wait a minute, shouldn't that be the opposite?
that's what we want to say. But I think he actually had a good case for this. Why, Marco? Why?
The simpler the mind, the happier the person.
I gotta be honest, I am not a fan of drugs at all. Sorry, I know that might sound old-fashioned. And one reason is because I've seen them ruin so many people's lives. And even people I knew who in my 20s were, just smoking weed and said no big deal, it did not take them places they wanted to go. It either kind of led them back places they really regretted going, or they quit. Epicurus would say, as far as the gods go do all the cocaine you want. But if you actually want to have pleasure in life, stay away from it. Cocaine it's a sadness maker. Why? It's just how our biology works. I mean, give cocaine to monkeys and see what happens to them. Give cocaine to rats, give cocaine to people. It just don't work with our biology very well. And a lot of stuff feels amazing in the moment, and it feels really lousy the next day. And then you say, well, I'll just take more cocaine tomorrow. But eventually, it's just better not to mess with it now. If you really want to maximize your pleasure in life, go to bed early, wake up. Now, there maybe we want to be careful by biological rhythms and all that, right? Go to bed early, wake up early, exercise, eat well, exercise self-restraint. You will maximize your pleasure. Does that sound plausible to anybody here? Yes, I'm an old man. It seems pretty much right on the money to me. Then, in a way, we're being irrational by going against that. If we say, I'm doing this stuff because I want to feel good. Wait, you want to feel good for the next 5 minutes, or you also want to feel good tomorrow and the day after? Well, tomorrow and the day after too. Probably shouldn't do that. Probably shouldn't do that. Right? It's really, really interesting. Okay. But we all need some pleasure, right? Manal, you agree we need some of this stuff? Okay. Christopher, we need some of this stuff. Matt, we need some. Okay. Does this stuff work? Here's our next question we're going to start focusing on. Does this work? And you might say, well, how do we know? I'm going to break you into groups for another 5 minutes. Here's the thing I want us to chew on. How do we know whether this stuff can work? By the way, I'm getting a lot of advice from my society. I want life satisfaction. Some people are saying I should go out and acquire a bunch of power. Okay, so should I go out and try and get into politics? Some people say I should acquire a bunch of fame. Should I try to start recording my Luigi's 2 Mansion 2 sessions to try to go viral for my amazing? I'm actually pretty dope at Luigi's Mansion 2. Should I be going that way? Should I be on Twitch? Right? Should I try to be a comedian? Should I pleasure? Well, I don't know. Again, the cocaine, like what? Should I try to? I don't know. Achieve a lot of stuff in life. Hey, I could kill two birds with one stone. Luigi's Mansion 2. Actually, I don't want to brag. I got mad Bloodborne skills. Should I try to go viral off of that? I'd probably be not blindfolded, but I'm pretty good at Bloodborne. Investing a lot of time in that. Money? Should I just try? What should I do? So here I am. Hopefully, I got some time left. What do? I can't do all this stuff at once.
And some of this stuff takes a huge investment of time to even see if it's going to work for me. What evidence can I rely on? What arguments can I turn to? What sources might I have? How do I figure out what to do with the rest of the month? This isn't about me, it's about you. I already know what I'm going to do. You have a lot of choices in front of you. What are you going to do to try to work this out? What are you going to rely on? Should we just go to YouTube and just, how should I be happy? And the first influencer will believe that? Should we just go to ChatGPT? Hey, ChatGPT, here's my options. Which one should I do? Well, the ChatGPT told me. WikiHow? I love the WikiHow. It's like, how do I convert to Hinduism? WikiHow. It's actually, some of that stuff isn't bad, actually. Some of the WikiHow stuff's pretty good. How are you going to figure this out? That's what I want you to chat about. How can you figure out what to do? Probably you don't really have to convert to Hinduism. That's not quite how it goes. Okay. All right. Other things, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, we got that stuff. All right. Take 5 minutes, chat with your group mates. How do you think we could actually go about figuring out which one of these might work for us? That's what I want you to chat about. Okay? Go for it. I guess personal. For you personally, how can you figure it out personally?
Probably the greatest satisfaction of life. Right. If you have virtue, and arguably, learning is a virtue.
Okay, then say more.
Not for your relationships, not really. It's kind of like about 50% health. Can you control your health? Yeah, but also not really. To an extent, you can. You try.
I say, don't you? Okay. Hydrate, exercise, eat well. I did not. We're not going to go into that here. Okay.
Can you control power? I mean, yeah, but also not really. Like you could be a dictator, but like someone's gonna assassinate you.
If you want to study your soul, you can go on the politics.
And then like your control is limited. It's like you can't control them forever in power. Right? Fame, can you control fame? Not really, not really. Like you can eventually get that, right? It's not gonna happen. Can you control pleasure in your entertainment? What if someone breaks in your house and shakes down your Wi-Fi? But where are you going to get entertained? Get pleasure, right? You can't control pleasure. Right? Pleasure often. You can't control what's outside of you. Status and honor. You can't control. Yeah, beauty you might have like you can get but then you can hold maybe plastic surgery. Someone takes your plastic surgery out of you, you have no control over that. Or let's say you're born, I don't know. I think well, that will we'll get back into the interview. Money you can't control money. Anybody can take away. Right? But what can you control? You can control virtue. And what we're learning is virtue. If you're virtuous, you may have better health. I don't know.
You certainly wouldn't harm it.
Yeah, you certainly wouldn't harm it.
You certainly wouldn't harm it. You probably maximize it as well as you could.
Yeah. Power, you're virtuous. Like, may follow you.
You're kind of Spinoza right now, how to bring friends and influence people and power and
I've got one of Joe's campaigns. You wrote it down.
That's cool. What was the system? Was it Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Do you know what edition it was? What edition it was? First, I think maybe for how long ago was this?
About 10 years. She was right.
It might have been thorough.
Might have been third edition 10 years ago. Because they're on fifth right now. I think, I forget what, I think third came out in 2014, maybe a little earlier. Okay.
I was looking at that, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. But, yeah, if you want, you're interested.
Yeah, bring it in. I'll take a look at
Need all those-
it. Bring it in, I'll take a look at it. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see it. Bring it in. Bring it in, I'll take a look at it.
If you are virtual.
We have a lot of sticks in there.
Yeah.
We did a lot of, like, working with, using my mystics. I'm very much familiar with a lot of the characters were kind of more craft.
Okay.
Sort of, you know what I mean? Sort of, but thinking women. Yeah. Because I think the challenges I have in really do a lot of more physical.
Yeah.
Because I get into the physical, I think we designed it that way on purpose. When I was thinking.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that. Yeah. Yeah, no, that she made this adventure. It was really cool. It was really impressive.
Made a big deal out of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. That was really great. Yeah, of course. All right, y'all. What do you got? What do you all got? Someone tells you all you need in life to be satisfied is to have a lot of money, to be like rich. Do you believe them or not? Why? What kind of evidence? Do you say, well, it's all totally subjective, so yeah, okay. Or is that how subjectivity works? Is there any kind of evidence to go through? Again, what we're trying to do here is figure out why we're asking the questions we're asking. What they mean? Do they matter? How do we figure out what's true? What are we actually going to do with our own lives? Yeah, Chris?
The one thing I thought was like, for like a musician, they would have all of the first five. And yet, historically,
Good.
a lot of them are very unsatisfied.
Okay, good. I love it. I heard Eric talk like this. I heard other people talk like this. So let's just look, if even take something that you think is subjective, like pizza. We don't tend to think all pizza is the same, right? And we will, like, if we're going to go down to Chicago, we want to try some deep dish. By the way, there's a lot of Chicago pizza that's not deep dish, but we'll look at reviews online. We want to see, what do other people like? And if we find somebody that's got some channel where they went to like 30 at the top, most commonly top rated pizzerias in Chicago, we want to know what they think. And we will often use that as a guide. It's just, has anybody actually tried this stuff and has it worked? Some of you had others. I just want to chat about this for a minute. We'll end on this today. I think this is a good strategy. Now, one thing we might have to be careful of is, can we trust people's reports? And does everybody have the same experience? By the way, I don't, this will go on the internet, but not for long. I usually put these videos online briefly and then take them down. A lot of people in Chicago really like Pequod's pizza. I've gone to, does anybody here, your family doesn't own Pequod's, do they?
I've never heard of
Pequod's, yeah. Is anybody, I think Pequod sucks. So a lot of people say, I want the Pequod's. I love Pequod's. I really do not like Pequod's. So we got to ask, how many people have experienced these? What did they say? Do they all give the same response? But we can find plenty of people that have experienced this stuff, and they say it doesn't work. And I'll give you an example of one. And I know some of you came up with other stuff, but a couple of years ago, when I was teaching here at COD, I took a little break. I don't normally do this, but I had a lunch break. I left campus. I went to get a cup of coffee. And while I went to get a cup of coffee, I heard this interview with Andre Agassi. Now you could tell what he does because I showed you. Who's Andre Agassi? Anybody know him? who's a tennis player. This guy was a huge star when I was young. I remember him. And the interview was really interesting. They said, "This is NPR. We're interviewing Andre Agassi." And the first thing he says is like, "I hate tennis. I hated tennis." He said, "My parents were immigrants. They made me play." He's like, I have an immigrant father from, I think it was Armenia. He's like, "My father really wanted me to be like Sal." It's not that all immigrant parents do that or no non-immigrant, but he's like, it's a very driven family, and my dad made me play tennis, and I freaking hated it. And he said, "But I got good." And he says at a certain point, I got very good. I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you." And he said that actually he struggled a lot with mental health issues, and at a certain point in his life, he had very serious depression, he had very serious anxiety, he had very serious drug addiction, and he was suicidal. And he was actually really thinking about killing himself. And he said this was at the point where he was ranked, I think, like number 8 in the world at tennis. He was super rich. He had multiple Lamborghinis. He was married to Brooke Shields, who was this very famous, like, mega supermodel. His face is on the Wheaties box. So he's got all the stuff. He's got the money. He's got the pleasure. He's got the fame. He's got power. He's got status. He's got all of it. He said he hated his life. And he actually said that he hatched a plan to fix his life. He said, "Here's the problem. I'm only number 8th in the world. I'll become number 1." And he did. He was a great athlete. He went out, he became number 1 in the world. And he said the moment he realized, like the confetti's falling on him, the moment he realized he won this match and he was number 1 in the world, he was more despairing than ever, like more depressed than ever, more suicidal than ever. And it actually made total sense to me. I don't know. If I had heard this when I was your age, it probably wouldn't have made any sense, but I've been around the block. Does anybody know why did he despair more than ever when he actually had everything? Yeah, Sarah.
Like now he has nowhere to go.
There's no, it didn't do, excuse my language, one goddamn thing for him. Not one. Well, there's nothing left to do. He's actually pretty happy now. Anyone want to guess how he's at? He went out and bought a 4th Lambo. Like, I mean, I don't know. I got yellow, orange, green. If I just had red. Actually, the reasoning does make a certain kind of sense to me. But no, it's not. What did he do? What did he do to go out?
Doing something for somebody else.
He's doing something for somebody else. He is now trying to help at-risk youth. And that's where he's found all his bliss and all his joy and all his satisfaction. You know how many people have told this kind of story through history? Like, lots. Have I heard a single person say, "All y'all are stupid fools"? I got all 5 of those and I am awesome. I have actually heard 1 or 2. I was not all that inclined to trust them because it seemed to me those people had basically zero self-awareness and all kinds of self-deception and delusion. But what could possibly entitle me to make that kind of statement? I don't know. Am I just, that's what we're gonna go into this more on Tuesday. Anyone want to watch Spirited Away over the weekend for an assignment? For the Miyazaki film. I'll send you guys an email tonight with something to do for Tuesday so we can go into this. But class, I hope you see, I'm not trying to, we might actually figure out in this class if we do this, like, we might actually work out a little bit where we think we want to go. I think it's worth doing. All right. I'll send you an email in a couple hours. Peace.